Hey there YouTube, I'm just going to give you a little instructional video. I have a 2008 Mazda 3. This works for, should be for 2004 to 2009 Mazda 3s. Mine's a 2.3, it's got the 5-speed automatic. I'm going to be changing the inhibitor switch for the transmission. It's also, you might hear it called the neutral safety switch or range selector indicator. There's a couple names for it. At the dealership, it's known as inhibitor switch. So, first of all, see, park's illuminated because I am in park. So, I'll show you when I put in reverse. Reverse is illuminated. Neutral also illuminates. When you go down to drive, you can see it's not quite illuminating. Let's see if I can get this shot for you. So you can see with the shifter right there. And if you look at the instrument cluster, I'm going to move, just wiggle it a little bit, and you're going to see, oh, there it goes. Now it shows drive. If I wiggle it, it went away. And with my car, you can see it shows what gear it's in as well. If I put it in manual, I can put it up to second gear, and it shows you the gears. But yeah, if I wiggle that, you can see it should not do that. When it goes away, it's no longer registering drive. And when I'm driving down the road, it'll do this, and it'll rev out, and I'll notice it. And usually what I do, just go ahead and put it back in neutral, give it a second, come off the gas, just coast, put it back to drive. Typically, that's the temporary fix. If it does it again, put it in neutral, put it back in drive. But that's pretty annoying. I've now done this 4 times with aftermarket ones. I'm doing the dealership one now because the aftermarket keeps breaking. I got it from O'Reilly's. Got it from Napa, and theirs just does not seem to want to hold up for more than like 6 months or so. My factory one initially broke when I had to change my transmission. There's little plastic tabs on the inside that allows it to move when you're changing gears. I was taking it off and wiggling it to try and help it off because it's stuck on there. I accidentally broke the plastic tab, replaced it with the aftermarket one, and it's been hit and miss since. You know, worked well for a few months, it'll start acting up. So I'm going to try to go with the dealership one this time. I think that's really enough said. We'll get to working on it, show you how that's done. Alright, so first thing you're going to want to do, well, really the first thing you're going to want to do is get it lifted up in the air. The way I did that, I just laid some tarps down. I got my ramps, drove it up on the ramps. And if we come down here, gonna pop the hood. Normally with this car you'd have to use the stick. I get these little aftermarket gas struts. Pretty nice. Show you that real quick. Just simply bolts on the existing fender bolt right there. Bolts on. I don't know if you can really see that well. But that bolts on right there to the where the hood bracket is. It uses that same bolt and just adds another bracket on top of it, and you got struts. Another one on the other side does the same exact thing. But the part that we are going to be changing, right down there, can't really see it yet. So, first thing you're going to want to do, come up under here, and if yours, like mine, still has the plastic skid plate, little protection panel thing for your engine, and you're going to have to take that off first. You just have some 10mm bolts. I have 2 in the front. My middle one's missing, so I only have 2 in the front. And then each side's got 2 of them as well. They're just 10mm. There's a little tab, as you can see right there, that it'll have to pop out of when you go to put it back on. You'll want to make sure that that tab pops right back through. So, just go ahead and go into my toolbox. I'm going to be using one of these, little impact. It's got 3/8 adapter. I also have 1/2 and 1/4 adapters for it, but all we're going to need today is the 3/8. It doesn't have to be deep socket. It's most readily available in my toolbox, so I just go and grab the deep. Normally, this would be faster if I actually had 2 hands to use and not constantly making sure that what I'm looking at's in frame. But it's not a very difficult job, doesn't really take that long. I'm actually going to save the other front one for last, because on my car, the little receiving nut is supposed to be like a little clip. One of those little clip nuts, and the nut's supposed to be secured to the clip, but mine, the nut's kind of broken free, so it spins. So I'm probably going to have to get my arm up under there with the 10mm and hold it on the other side while I take the front one out. But these 2 back ones are out now. Let's see if it'll be nice today and come on out with the power. It's just spinning. So we're gonna grab the 10mm, just a crescent wrench. Could be opened or closed, and wrench doesn't really matter. I'm just gonna use open end. It's a smaller, easier wrench for me to get in there with. Alright, so I just realized that my camera actually just stopped recording because it only records in 5-minute intervals, which is kind of stupid, but whatever. Basically, I just took out that last bolt, pulled down the plastic I was showing you, which you didn't record before. I'll show you again. It's right here, the little hole. There's a plastic tab on the bottom of the little plastic skid plate thing that goes through this hole, so you just pull this away from it. It'll pop out. Do that on both sides, slides right out. There's 2 little tabs that pretty much slide themselves out from right here. It goes in. So here's what we're looking at. Here's our shift cable. It goes up to that way, out to the or into the car, to the shifter. Actuates this arm right here, and right here is the part we're replacing. So as you can see, it connects in right here, and as this arm moves, it's actually moving a little shaft that's coming out of your transmission, and that's changing the actual gears in the transmission. This is the electrical portion. Here's a plug right here, and basically that's just letting your vehicle know the proper gear it's in: park, neutral, reverse, drive. And if it's not working correctly, like I was showing you, it's not showing drive, it thinks it's in neutral, so it puts it in neutral. And that's pretty shitty when you're trying to drive down the road. So we're going to remove this first by taking this clip out. Not very difficult to do. That aside. Now this is simply going to slide right off. All that's really holding it is it goes through the plastic. It's got your little tab in the metal, and it's connected to the arm. Next thing we're going to want to do, we can go ahead and just disconnect the electrical real quick. I'll set you down for a second. With plastic, these little plastic tabs here with electrical things, if you push in first and then push on the tab, and then pull out. It makes it easier. It takes the tension off the little hooking portion of the tab when you push it in. Makes it easier to push in, and then it'll come off a lot easier. If you saw that, but see the electrical's off now. So, next thing we're going to want to do is disconnect this nut from the shaft, and that's going to be able to allow us to get this arm off. And then once the metal arm's out of the way, we just have these two hex, so Allen hex key, 1 and 2. There is an oval shape to the part itself, so there is some adjustability. You want to make sure that that's lined up correctly. I'll get to that later, but for now, let's go ahead and take that nut off. So for that, I just use an adjustable wrench, and I'll hold the adjustable wrench on the arm. I'll show you this, I guess. So I'll put the adjustable wrench on this arm, and then I'll get my wrench that fits this size. I believe it's a 22. We'll figure out here in a second. Or 21, whatever it is. And then we'll hold it here to keep it from moving, and then we'll be able to take that nut. Alright, so at this point, the nut is basically off. Just going to pull that nut off, put it to the side. There's also a lock washer, as you can see there. That goes behind the nut, obviously. And we're going to take our adjustable wrench, still holding on to this. And notice the orientation of how it's on. It pretty much can only go one way, because if you go to put it on and it's not, if it's backwards because it's a rectangle, it can only go two ways. These tabs are all end up hitting the screws, I believe, if I remember correctly from last time, but pretty much you just want to make sure when you're in park, it's going to stay in park, so that arm with the tab is going to be facing downwards. If you were to flip it the other way to go on, that would be up. That's incorrect. So keep that aside. And now all we got to do is take those two bolts off, and the part will be off. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. Got the regular Allen key wrench. It's 5mm. Just going to have to do it this way. No fancy sockets, just fine. Just two bolts. Not a whole lot of torque on them anyway. There's two little tabs in here. See if I can't get that to focus. You can kind of see one right there. And there's one on the other side opposing it. Can't really get that to focus though. That's the part we're looking at changing. Little O-ring on there, keeps it on there tightly. Doesn't seem to be anything wrong with mine, so no need to really change that. Just gonna get the new part. I'm just gonna go ahead and finish this up. The assembly is the same as the disassembly, so basically what I'm gonna do, put those two bolts back in. It's gonna get seated all the way down past the O-ring, or onto the O-ring on that little output shaft thing there. And we'll plug it in, make sure that it registers part correctly. If so, we'll put everything else back together, and we'll give it a test of cycling the gears once the linkage is connected back up so that it moves it. And if it's working correct, we're good. If, say, drive, which is the last in the gears, is not illuminating, that means that this has got to be adjusted slightly, and we'll go ahead and do that if we have to. Alright, so got it all connected, and there's park, reverse, neutral, drive, no issues. Your manual, shift. And let's see. Get this shot. So I can see the little indicator there still. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wiggle it around and drive and show you. So not flashing or anything. You can see I'm wiggling over here on the shifter. Still see the indicator light over on the left. Solid green light on the drive, and the one is still there. And push it up into neutral. Back to drive. So what I actually had to do when I went in park at first, it was mostly working, but then the park little light on the P went out, and basically that's just means you got to adjust it below. What I did is loosen the two Allen key bolts that are holding it on, and that's what allows you to adjust it, and just grabbed it by the portion where the electrical connects in and pulled it to the right, so facing the front of the car and transmission, looking at it, be to the right, which is your driver's side, and just pull it all the way that way as much as I could without being too hard on it. You don't want to break it, it's all plastic, but just enough that you can tell that it adjusts over to the right, and then just hold it there, tighten those two bolts back down, and it was good to go. That's all it really needed. It just was the cable needs to be able to actuate that thing, so it was a little short of it, like I said, a little slack, you could say. So by turning it to the right, it took that slight amount of slack that was in it, tightened it up so that when it goes in park, it's nice and solid in park. And yeah, looks like it's all good now. Thanks for watching the video.